Hi, this is Steve at blessedhopeforever.com. I was asked on Facebook by one of our followers to explain the following. This has to do with the Book of Life and the Lamb's Book of Life. Many Christians are unaware of the fact that two books exist, not just one. So we're going to go over these verses, and when we do, we'll reach some solid conclusions. So this video won't take long, but hopefully it'll be very enlightening. Let's start with the first verse. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Revelation 21:27. The Lamb's Book of Life. Well, here we have a reference to the Lamb's Book of Life. Revelation 21:27. Or that the saved are written into that book. The next verse we're going to look at is Revelation 13:8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain before the foundation, or from the foundation of the world. Revelation 13:8. So we see here from this verse that the saved, those who are born again, are written into the Lamb's Book of Life from the foundation of the world. The next verse we're going to look at is Revelation 20:15, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life, not the Lamb's Book of Life, was cast into the lake of fire. Revelation 20:15. So the unsaved are seen to be erased from the book of life. The next verse we're going to look at is Daniel 12:1. Now we're back in the Old Testament. Now at that time Michael, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people, will arise, and there will be a time of distress such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time. And at that time your people, everyone who is found written in the book, will be rescued. Daniel 12:1. So the saved remain in the book of life. There's no mention there of the Lamb or Lamb's Book of Life. The next verse, Luke 10:20. Now we're in the Gospels. Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are recorded in heaven. Now, even though the phrase Book of Life or Lamb's Book of Life is not there, the implication is that their names are recorded in heaven. The next verse is Hebrews 12:22 and 23. But you have come to Mount Zion, and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to myriads of angels, to the general assembly and church of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect. The next verse, Philippians 4:3, states, Indeed, true companion, I ask you also to help these women who have shared my struggle in the cause of the gospel, together with Clement also and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the book of life. Philippians 4:3. The next verse we're going to look at here is Revelation 3:5. He who overcomes will thus be clothed in white garments, and I will not erase his name from the book of life, and I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. I will not erase. The word there, exalipho, is the Greek word. I wipe away or obliterate is what the word literally means. His name from the book of life. Notice that it is not that their names are wiped away from the Lamb's Book of Life, but from the book of life. And I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. When does this occur? Well, it possibly occurs at the great white throne judgment, but I think that we're going to see in a later verse that it could occur at some time prior to that. Revelation 21:27. Here's another verse that refers to the Lamb's Book of Life. And nothing unclean and no one who practices abomination and lying shall ever come into it, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Now we're back in the Old Testament again in Exodus chapter 32. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, Alas, this people has committed a great sin, and they have made a god of gold for themselves. But now, if you will, forgive their sin, and if not, please blot me out from your book. No mention of the Lamb, which you have written. The Lord said to Moses, Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book. Still no mention of the Lamb's book of life. Exodus 32, 31, and 33. So when does this occur? Well, it's in the imperfect tense. And in the Hebrew, the imperfect tense is regarded as either still continuing, in the process of accomplishment, or presently taking place. The next verse we're going to look at is Psalm 69, verses 27 through 28. Add iniquity to their iniquity, and may they not come into your righteousness. May they be blotted out of the book of life. You notice we're not seeing any mention of any blotting out of anyone in the Lamb's book of life. May they be blotted out of the book of life. And also, it continues with another thought here. May they not be recorded with the righteous. Psalms 69, 27, 28. This is a direct reference to two books. The next verse that we're going to look at is, All who dwell on the earth will worship him, everyone whose name has not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb, who has been slain. Revelation 13, 8. Again, we see that the names of those in the book of life of the Lamb's book of life, were written into that book from the foundation of the world. The next verse we're going to look at is Revelation 17:8. We're almost done. We're getting close to the end of these references here. The beast that you saw was and is not and is about to come up out of the abyss and go to destruction. And those who dwell on the earth dwellers, whose name has not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will wonder when they see the beast that he was and is not and will come. Revelation 17:8. Again, that's the phrase book of life, biblion zoes in the Greek. So we see that they have already been blotted out. Already. The next verse is Psalms 139:16. Your eyes have seen my unformed substance. This is going back to even before fertilization in the womb took place. And in your book were all written the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them. Psalm 139:16. And now we're back in the Old Testament again, Malachi 3:16. Then those who feared the Lord spoke to one another, and the Lord gave attention and heard it in a book of remembrance. The word there, remembrance, in the Greek is the word for memorial, was written before him for those who fear the Lord and who esteem his name. So, here are the forced conclusions that we have. There were the conclusions that we're forced to come to reach after looking at these verses and taking them at face value, considering everything that's been written. All are written in the book of life. There was the book of life in which every name of every person who's ever been born is written into. One must be written into the book to be blotted out of it. We've also been forced to conclude that the elect are written in the Lamb's book of life before the foundation of the world. They didn't do anything to be written into that book, and they will never, ever, 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 ever be blotted out. The unsaved are blotted out of the book of life. They're not blotted out of the Lamb's book of life because they were never written into it. The elect also remain in the book of life. We're not, just because we're written into the Lamb's book of life doesn't mean that we're blotted out or we're removed from the book of life, because we were born into the world. And for the unsaved, for those who are lost, being that they are blotted out of the book of life, It was though that they never existed at all. This also confirms that those who are born again were written into the Lamb's Book of Life from the foundation of the world, and they can never, ever, 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 ever do anything to be erased from either book. I know this is a short video, but I hope you find it enlightening. This is Steve. I love you all. I truly do. Thanks for watching.